Hello, my name's James Keane. I'm a business development manager for Employment Hero. And today I wanted to talk to you about a few things. Now, before I actually jump in and show you our platform and talk to you about some of the things that we specifically do, I want you to sit back and think for a moment of any industry, process, thing that you do or that you have that hasn't been disrupted in the last 20, 50, 100 years. So this can be things like the way that we move about. So, the way that we communicate, the way that transport works. Our CEO, Ben Thompson, made sure that I had a photo of a Tesla on here because he's a big Elon Musk fanatic. So, but lots and lots of things. And you can think of all sorts of different processes that were done in a certain way that are no longer done in that way, and that technology has revolutionized. Now, one of the last areas to actually be disruptive and to be automated is HR. And essentially, this is why Employment Hero has actually come about. So if you think about the traditional ways which HR has been managed, particularly across small to medium-sized businesses, if you think of your own employee files and the way that you manage all of your information relating to your employees, I imagine that you have probably got a filing cabinet somewhere. You've probably got a share drive. You've probably got a whole bunch of spreadsheets and documents and all sorts of things in all sorts of different places which aren't necessarily talking to each other. You then have a payroll system which is completely separately. So you have lots of different places data is being stored with potential for incorrect data or data that is different between two different files. And you have all sorts of compliance problems that come along with that, and lots of other ways of falling into issues. So why Employment Hero came about is we saw this, and we thought there must be a better way. There must be some way that we can actually fix this problem, because it was a huge problem. And so we created our HR platform, Employment Hero, and this is what I wanted to talk to you about today. So first thing we'll go through is I'm going to introduce Employment Hero to you. We're going to start looking at the main reasons why small to medium-sized businesses are actually moving in towards cloud HR. It's a very recent move, and but it is a really strong movement that's starting to gain a lot of momentum. I will show you the actual platform that we run. It'll be pretty high level, obviously, but I'll go through some of the features, how it would actually work, what it would look like from your point of view and an employee's point of view. Then we'll talk about pricing and how to actually get started. So let's firstly talk about what sort of businesses there are that are moving to cloud HR. Now, if we look back even 5 years ago, for a business of under 200 employees, there really weren't any options available to actually move into some sort of automated cloud HR solutions. So there were lots of enterprise level players out there that had lots of different systems, your PeopleSoft and Oracles and all sorts of other guys like this. And to implement a system like that is going to cost you $100,000 just to start with. And so it obviously isn't really feasible for small to medium-sized businesses. So we have built a platform specifically to cater for that sector of the market. So our clients typically, as it says, are between 5 and 200 employees. We have put here that who experience the burden of managing employment. I think everybody experiences the burden of managing employment. Not many people get into business with the idea of employing people. People get into business for an idea or to solve a problem or to fill a niche or whatever it might be. And as a result of that, you have to employ people. And a result of that is that there is a huge amount of complexity that people have to actually try and get on top of, and working your way around all of the Australian employment legislation, if you're not an expert in this, can be a complete minefield. And we've seen a lot of people in the press recently falling afoul of this. So again, there is a lot of reasons to actually have a look at a platform like this. So about us, so Employment Hero is Australian born and bred. So we started out in 2012. We are growing incredibly quickly. So right now we've got about 45,000 employees on the platform. We recently partnered with ANZ Bank, who did a lot of research into us and the market and some of the things that we're doing. They are now actually going to be distributing us to all of their business banking clients. So this is a big deal for us, and there are lots more opportunities like this actually coming for us during this year. We also have had $4.5 million of investment in us from a range of different VC firms. Now, the reason I'm telling you this is not necessarily to brag, but it's just to show you that there are a lot of people taking a lot of notice about what we're doing and are actually putting a lot of money down to actually back the product and can really see the value, particularly for small to medium-sized businesses. Why would you go into cloud HR? There's a lot of different reasons. I'm not going to go into these in a huge amount of detail, but you should probably, if you're approaching us and you're looking at this demo, then you will probably be familiar with some of the things that we can do. So digital archiving is huge, particularly when when you have to keep all of your employee details for 7 years. They can be in all sorts of different places. You want one place where you can host all of that. That then leads into having your single source of truth. And the idea is that if you can have a HR platform, which is then linked to your payroll engine, you have your one single area where data is entered in and it's all talking to each other in real time. Workflows are a really nice benefit of having a cloud system. So when you have processes that are built in that you have for new employees or for any of your different employees going into different roles or anything like that, typically these workflows will go out the door with your HR manager if they end up leaving, if you don't have a system in place which has this all built in. So it's a really easy way to actually build that into the platform. Compliance and security is huge. So as I mentioned, it's a really, really big issue at the moment. I'm sure you've all seen the press and all sorts of things that Fair Work are doing at the moment. So if you don't have your compliance and security as a top priority for your employees in the business, then you need to start thinking about it. And ideally, you need something which is actually built for employment legislation and built to be compliant in today's climate. Engaging employees is actually a really interesting one. So being able to compete with big businesses to actually keep your employees is really hard. So there are lots of benefits that the people are familiar with working for a small business versus a big business, but there's lots of things that big businesses do really well that small businesses just can't. So offered lots of discounts for different products, offered cheap health insurance and all these sorts of things. So if you can find something which actually can do that for you, then again, it'll put you ahead of the pack. And obviously cloud-based. I'm not going to go into all of the benefits of cloud technology in this demo. Hopefully you guys are all familiar with it. If you have any questions about this, then just approach us at Employment Hero and we'll be able to talk you through what it all means. So let's actually have a look at the platform. So I have jumped across to our HR platform. Now I'm logged in as an administrator at the moment. So I wanted to just really briefly talk to you about access levels. We'll then go through an employee onboard and we'll see what that looks like from your point of view and then from the employee's point of view. We can then have a look at some compliance aspects. We can then look at some basic functions like a leave request, and then that'll probably do us. So just to start with on access levels, I'm logged in as an administrator at the moment. So administrators have full access rights. They can do anything, see anything. They're basically the owner of the platform. You can then have manager level access. So managers control or can see some basic details of their employees. They also control the flow of approvals. So if any employee submits a leave request or a timesheet or anything like that that needs to go through for approval, it will go through to that manager. We then have employee self-service access. So all employees have access to the platform. Because it's cloud-based, they can access it from anywhere on any browser. They can access it on their mobile if they want to. And we also have a mobile app on iOS and Android, which all employees can get access to. So let's firstly just have a look at a couple of compliance areas. And I mentioned this is obviously of huge importance to employers, or it should be of huge importance to you guys. So a couple of things. We are also an employment law firm. So we have this platform populated with all sorts of compliant policies, procedures, HR documents, and employment contracts that are here for you guys to use. So if you wanted to add in a new policy, for example, you can see we've got a full list of compliant documents that are here for you to use. So you can pick and choose any of these that you want. They are kept up to date with any changes in legislation. This is all included in the platform and here for you guys to use. They come in a template format, which I'll show you in a little bit. We also, if you've got any of your own policies, then you can upload any of your own here, straightforward. You'll notice that a few of the policies have a little flag next to them as well. So these policies are required viewing for employees. So what that means is when an employee first logs into their platform, they'll be prompted to go in and open up the code of conduct, for example, tick a box to say they've read and agreed with the policy, and then we can come into this compliance report. And this is actually going to show us all of the policies that are out there in the platform. It'll show us how many have been acknowledged, how many are overdue, and then we can actually click in the slice of the pie that we're interested in, and this will break down a full report for us. So you can see, we can filter this, we can drop it down in a CSV, and it's important to know that all of the employees who are on this list will be getting constant automated reminder emails telling them they need to go in and fill this out. So it's a really nice way to allow a system to do the nagging for you instead of you guys doing all of that. So we're now going to jump in and do an employee onboard. So I'm going to onboard myself. So what you'll notice here is that we try and limit as much of the data entry that's needed from your point of view and put it onto the employees. So there's a few really details that we need to put in, and this is us as the employer doing this, just to recap. So I'm putting in a name, we can put in a start date and a job title. I've got this attached to our own payroll engine, so we've got a built-in award interpretation engine in there. Otherwise, we can populate a rate just like this. We can put in a probation. This will trigger an automated reminder email to the employee's manager when we're coming up towards the end of our probation. And we can select a manager, and that will control the flow of approvals that we were talking about before. So as far as data entry that we need to put in for an employee, from your point of view, we're done at this point. And I'll talk to you a bit more about that in a moment. So the next stage is then selecting a contract. So we have a list of contracts that you can choose from here. They are, again, all built by our employment law team. They're here for you guys to use if you would like to. If you have any of your own contracts, then we can build those into the platform for you. So the way that the contracts work is they are in a template format, which I mentioned to you before. So we have text in blue that we can edit and is also pre-filling from that previous screen. So you can see we've pulled through the job title, start date. If we'd put in locations, it'd come through here. The hourly rate is all here. We also have optional clauses that we can choose to leave in or take out. We have free text fields where we can put in whatever we want. And we have drop downs as well. So if you have any of your own contracts that you want to send to us, we can populate that in exactly this way. So you tell us what optional clauses you want. You tell us what areas you want to pre-fill. We build it for you and it looks like this. We then have the contract as the employee will see it. So as you can see, it's pulled through an electronic signature here. So e-signatures are really important because everything that we do in this platform is completely paperless from end to end. So we have electronic signatures populated throughout. They're fully compliant with all of the legislation around this. So they're as legally binding as a physical signature on a piece of paper. We then have an email which we'll send to the employee. As you can see, it's customizable. You can put in whatever you want. Once we send that, from your point of view, that's it. So you're probably thinking there is a huge amount more information that we actually need in order to get our employees paid. So we need our contact detail. We need the employee's contact details, their bank details, super choice form, tax declaration, work rights. All this sort of stuff is now done by the employee, not by you guys. Now, this platform is also integrated with a whole bunch of payroll platforms. So that's people like Xero, MYOB, QuickBooks Online, KeyPay, and we've also got our own payroll engine. So when the employee goes in and fills out all of their details online, all of this will then automatically be flowing straight back into any one of those linked payroll engines without you guys touching a thing. Anytime the employee then wants to change any of those details or keep anything like that up to date, they would then log into Employment Hero. They go in and change those details. That updates payroll and we're away. So there is no need for anyone to actually liaise with you to update this. There is no need for an HR person or a payroll person to go in and update this on their end. All of the maintenance of the employee file is kept up to date and is maintained by the employees themselves. So it's a huge burden off you guys as the employers. So what we're actually going to do now is we're going to have a look at what this looks like from the employee's point of view. So I've got a linked email address here. It's picking up all the emails which we send throughout the platform. So this is the email we just sent. So from the employee's point of view, they can click on the link This will then invite them to set up a password. Once we've set up this password, then it will automatically create an account for us. And the first thing that the employee will see is their contract. So just to reiterate, this is the employee's login now. So from the employee's point of view, they can view the contract and then really simply sign it online. I've just done that with my trackpad on my laptop. You can do it with a mouse. You can even do a full onboard, including signing the contract on a smartphone. So employees can sign their contract online with their finger. Once we sign the contract, we're then automatically led through into collecting all of those details which we need in order to get this employee paid. So I'm not going to fill all this out for you in this demo, but as you can see, it's really straightforward. So employees can go and fill out all their own details. Next stage is then the tax deck and their super choice form and everything else that we mentioned before. It's worth mentioning that, again, the tax deck is all filled out online. It flows through to your payroll engine. So for example, if you're using Xero, your tax deck will go straight through into Xero, and from there you can lodge it electronically with the ATO. So again, the whole process is completely paperless. A few other things to note, you can see we've got a few flags here on the left. So for example, we have policies. So you can see that the top 3 policies are the required viewing policies that we looked at before. So from the employee's point of view, they can open up the code of conduct, tick this box to acknowledge and agree with the policy. From the employee's point of view, they can then always see exactly when they have actually acknowledged that. They will stop getting reminder emails once they've acknowledged all of these. And in that compliance report that we looked at before from the administrator's side of things, that will all show up in the report as well. So we're now going to have a quick look at a leave request. So again, this is really straightforward, and this is the employee who can come in and do anything they need to. So all of your leave categories will be coming straight through from payroll. We can select our dates. We can put in any comments that we want. We can upload a document. So this might be like a doctor's certificate, for example. Once we're hooked up with payroll, on the right there, our leave balance will show there. And then we can make any edits that we want. So if we're taking a half day, we can put in the hours and then really simply just submit for approval. So from there, the employee's manager has then been sent an email to tell them that there has been a leave request submitted. So if you remember, we selected Amanda as our manager. So you can see this is the email that's then gone through to Amanda. You'll also see a few links to the app here. So I mentioned we have an app that all employees can use. So this can all be done on the app as well. Employees can submit leave through the app. The employee's manager can swipe left or right to approve or decline the leave. And again, it will go straight through into your Link's payroll engine. Otherwise, if we want to do it through the actual browser, I'm going to jump back into our administrator's view to show you what this would look like. So we're jumping into our leave management screen. So here we can see any different overlapping leave that we have. So we've got firstly our leave request that I've submitted. So we can see the dates. Once it's linked up to payroll, we'll see the annual leave balance. We can see the comment that we put in. We can also then see this calendar, which is really nice. So this will show us all of our overlapping leave. It'll show us anyone who's on leave, either on our team or across the business. Once we're then comfortable with this, we can approve the leave. You'll see that the bar changes color. And then if we jump back into our employee's view, the employee will have received an email to say their leave request has been approved. You'll also notice that the status is at pending at the moment. If we refresh the page, it's now gone to approved. The full leave history will show here for all of our employees to be able to look at. So one other thing that I want to show you is our employee files. So one of the things that we mentioned earlier is that your typical employee file is stored in all sorts of different places between a filing cabinet and a spreadsheet and a share drive and all sorts of other areas. So all of this can all be stored in the same place through Employment Hero. So if we jump into an employee file for Amanda, for example, so you can see we can have a little overview. We can have a bio. You can have the cheesiest photo you can find, as I've done. We can store all of the employee's personal details. Again, the majority of this is kept up to date by the employee. We can store our employment history. This will track all the different positions which the employee has had throughout the organization. So if they change roles or get promoted or move sideways or anything like that, then it'll track that here. And then we can track any formal HR documentation in this HR documents area. Now, the reason why this is formal documentation is that all of the documents in here need to be signed off by an employee. And this is all the electronic signatures that we saw before. So again, we have a full library of documents that are here for you to use. So if you want to resend a contract, you can do, or any other HR documentation. Again, this is all built into the platform for you to use. It's all kept up to date with all of our employment legislation. Pick and choose whatever you want, and it'll send through to the employee. It's in that template format again that we saw before. So there's areas that you can edit and change. If there's anything that is less formal that you want to upload into an employee file, then we can do this with uploaded documents. So this is where you can upload any document that you want on an employee file, so a PDF or a Word document or whatever you need. Now you can see here that there are some documents that we can choose to actually share with the employee, or if you've got confidential documents, you can choose to actually have that so that the employee can't see that. You can also choose out whether the manager can see it or not, or if you want it completely confidential, only the administrator can see it. Up to you. Now the rest of this is pretty straightforward, so I'm not going to go through all of these tabs with you. One thing that I will show you is this area called management notes. So this is where you can keep any free text notes that you want on an employee file. So this is, you can put in anything that you want. It's time and date stamped. So it's a good place to track any conversations that you're having with an employee if they're going through performance management. If you want to track any client feedback or anything like that, you can put it all in here. Obviously the employee can't see this area. The only people who can see this are the employee's manager and us, because we're an administrator and we can see everything. So again, you can see there's lots of other things that we do down the left of the platform. So I'm not going to go through all of it with you today. If you need any more detail, then we're happy to actually go through it with you. Worth mentioning that all of your employees can see their pay slips on here and lots of other areas. One thing that I will show you is this area called perks. I'll jump back into the employee view to show you this. I mentioned again that it's really hard to actually compete with big businesses when you're trying to attract and retain your employees. So we tried to address that in the platforms by a few things. So firstly, we have a whole range of retail discounts that are actually built into the platform that all employees can get access to. There's no extra cost to any of this, so it's all built into the platform. Some of these are really cool, like the JB Hi-Fi one, for example, is essentially everything that JB Hi-Fi offer at wholesale price. So it's really awesome. There's lots of different things in here. All employees get access, all built into the platform. We use our buying power to negotiate these discounts, pass it straight on to you guys. We also have relationships with a whole bunch of other providers for lots of different types of products and services. So for example, if an employee wanted to get a new gym membership, or they wanted a new phone plan, or even a home loan, they can actually go in here, select the areas they're looking to save money in. We can connect them with the suppliers, and from there, they can then take up the discounts that we've already negotiated. So a really nice way to actually reward your employees. So now I just want to jump in and have a quick look at our pricing. So this is all on our website. So feel free to actually go through and you can recap on this whenever you want. But we have 3 tiers to the platform, as you can see. So we have a free tier. So this is where we store some really basic areas to the platform. So it's a good way for you to actually try before you buy. So you can go in whenever you want on our website. You can set up a free account. You can do whatever you need to do in there, test the onboarding. And then when you're ready, you can actually upgrade to either standard or premium. You can see that there are a few differences between the two. This is all cumulative. So premium includes everything that's on the page. Main differences between premium and standard are the performance reviews and goal setting, which we haven't gone through in this demo. We also have a huge amount of support, as you can imagine. So we have a support team here in our Sydney office. They're contactable at any time during business hours, during Australian business hours, either by phone or by email. So, and that's all included in your cost. There's no additional cost to the support that we have here. We also have built-in knowledge bases within Employment Hero. We have user webinars. We've got training programs. We've got actual user guides and lots of other areas to actually support you in using Employment Hero. So we can also implement the platform for you. So there are a couple of different options. So we can actually do it for you. So we can actually create, we have an implementations team that will do the work for you. We can set up all of the back end of the system. We can get your policies all in there. We can set up your workflows and lots of other things that you need to do. Typically takes about 2 to 4 weeks from actually signing up with Employment Hero to going live. or you can do it yourself. So there's obviously no charges to that. It's designed to be self-implemented. We have a lot of resources that we can use to assist you with all of this. You would probably need to allocate about 3 to 6 hours of actual time to do the setup. So completely up to you. If you would like us to implement it for you, get in touch and we can give you a quote. We've got lots of different customers. So there's a whole range of customers that we have here, again, ranging from lots of different industries to lots of different employee sizes. So if you want any more names from us, then just let us know. Like I said, we've got about 750 different customers with around 45,000 employees on the platform. So thank you everyone for your time. I hope you found that beneficial. If you've got any questions that you would like to ask, please feel free to contact me. My details are there, or you can contact us through our website whenever you want.